If you don't know them yet, you will soon. We have the Hollingsworth Patterson campaign running for SGA in the studio with us, and they bring a unique perspective to how SGA should serve the student body. So here with us, we have Carson Hollingsworth, who's running for president, and we have Mackenzie Patterson, who's running for vice president. So my first question for you guys is, what are some of the biggest issues that you see on campus, and how do you plan to combat those issues?
Right. So right now on campus, we really see that a lot of students don't really feel appreciated. Not appreciated by the student government, and not really appreciated all the way by administration, especially by the state government here in Tennessee. They just feel like they're here for school and nothing more, and there's not a lot more support behind that. I want to make sure Mackenzie and I make sure that we are always representing the students, and we're always there for the students, and we're making sure that they feel that they're pursued and they're wanted on this campus, and that we're doing everything to ensure that they're having the best experience possible. I know a lot of students really feel that SGA isn't doing what they want them to do. They feel like administration is really kind of just focused on the Top 25 initiative, for instance, which is an amazing thing for a university. And we want to make sure that we really make our degrees worth more, and we want to make sure we leave a good legacy behind for future students. But at the same time, we want to make sure we're also focusing on the students here right now and seeing that we have a really good experience as current students at the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, really just to follow up with that, the student experience should involve SGA. We always say when we speak to student groups that the reason that SGA exists is to be a channel for student desires, to figure out what they're convicted of, what bothers them, what their desires are. And it needs to be a relationship that follows any given student the entire 4 years that they're here. We can't just expect for SGA to be closed up into this box of people who really like to make policy. It needs to pursue the students, and that's a big issue for the students that go here, and we have got to continually pursue, just like Carson said.
Okay, so you're planning to pursue the students.
Yes.
One initiative that I know you're for is a Vol Shop student discount. Can you explain that a little bit? Because that intrigues me. I mean, I love the Vol Shop.
Who doesn't? Lots of orange. So exactly. We're kind of thinking, and a lot of times when people hear that this is a policy point, they're like, wait a minute. You mean that doesn't already exist? Like, this is something that everyone kind of doesn't think about until you mention it, and then they're thinking, that's ridiculous. Why isn't that already offered to me? Because we are expected to wear orange on Fridays, Big Orange Friday, wear them to football games and other sporting events. So why don't we get a little help with that? The Goodwill on Cumberland is wonderful, but we want to be able to use our Vol Shop. I mean, we want to go and pick out something nice and new and not have to pay quite the price for it.
Also, just in terms of like the policy, like that's one of our policies that we released first. But we have so much more that's like really big on this campus, like whether it be diversity policies and making sure that we're supporting every single student on this campus. We want to also make sure we're just doing the small things to make sure that students are having an amazing experience, like having a discount on the Vol Shop. It's simple, it's easy, and it's something that a lot of students care about because they're going to save some money and be a little bit more prideful of the university and be able to share that pride.
Absolutely. Are there any other policies like the Vol Shop student discount that you guys are pushing for?
One in particular, we're copying some policy we've seen at other universities called like a Rec Rewards program. So the more students use the T-Rex, the more they do intramurals, like go to club sporting events, the more points they'll rack up and be able to get some free swag, you know?
Well, maybe that would encourage me to go to the gym. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give me something. So, so if you could finish this sentence, you should vote for us because. How would both of you finish that?
I would finish that sentence. You should vote for us because we care so much about the student body. We care so much about this university. It's a lot more than policy. It's a lot more than just passing legislation and looking at how the internal SGA works. It's about looking at the entire campus, and you should vote for us because we are the leaders that can bring this campus to a more inclusive environment. We can bring this campus to a place where communities represent other communities, and SGA is able to build other people up. We're able to empower other students. We're so passionate about every single student, every single diverse group of students here on this campus, and I want to make sure that we're really, really advocating for every single person here.
And Ashley, as to add to that and not to repeat it, you should vote for us because Carson and I, we have done so many things on campus, and we always use the example of a Venn diagram. So if you put him on one side of the circle and me on the other, and they overlap, we have had a lot of shared experiences as well as ones that I would never have touched on campus had he not done them, and vice versa. And we can really appreciate the fact that still only gives us two perspectives in the reality of the situation situation is this campus is very big, and there are so many students that deserve to be reached and pursued and understood, and we can't expect for SGA just to sit back and wait for them to go do the pursuing. That's up to us. And really, another thing that brings us apart from our other candidates on other campaigns is I know Carson Hollingsworth like the back of my hand. I know who he is as a person, as a leader. He is passionate, and he's going to work harder than anybody I know for this university. And at the end of the day, that's why we're running together, because I know that about him, and I am convicted to love this university so well, and we'll say that and talk about it for days. And if I love the university that well, there's no way I would run with anybody else that I didn't believe shared that passion and wasn't going to do the job to the expectations that I hold for the university I love. And this relationship is more than just strategy. I believe in him. He's my friend. We're best friends, and that's something that's going to stick with us into our elected offices. It's teamwork every single time we make a decision.
Do you want to follow up on that? She gave you some pretty big compliments.
I mean, vice versa, completely. Like I know Mackenzie too for a while now. We actually met doing residence hall council stuff. I was in Beacon today, freshman year, and our friendship really evolved our sophomore year when we were involved in an emerging leaders class. And we got to know each other on like a high ropes course 50 feet off the air. So ever since then, we've just been working on stuff together. The orientation, we're Ignite Leaders right now for the Center for Leadership and Service. We're serving in different roles all across the student body and all across the university together. I know Mackenzie is one of the most authentic people on this campus, and I know that she cares so much about the student body. I personally have a lot of experience inside of SGA, and her experience comes from a lot of other things outside of SGA. And I feel so confident in her ability to really be there for the students and represent the students, because that's what we're here for in student government. And I know that she has seen so many different areas of campus, and she cares so deeply about every single person she interacts with, you know? Like, we served at orientation together, and we each had orientation groups, and so all the people that come through orientation. And, like, we'll be walking around campus, and she remembers every single orientation she ever had. Like, that's hundreds of students, and she just memorizes their names. Like, it's amazing how much passion this woman has for this university. And I just am so proud to be running with her and being her running mate, because I know I would not be doing this with anyone else at this point. Like, we are great for this, and I know that she's amazing for this, and I wouldn't be doing this with anyone else.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in studio with us. And I mean, you guys have really got some great platforms, so I'm sure the students will be ready to set out and vote in the next coming weeks. So just make sure that y'all are watching out for Hollingsworth and Patterson across campus. I'm sure they're going to be out campaigning. So yeah, thank you so much for coming in, you guys.
Thank you so much, Ashley.